I've been sober for years, and some days, the hardest part isn't staying sober. It's the look on people's faces when they find out I am. The slight pause, the change in tone, like I just told them something they didn't want to know. I'm Carlo. Welcome to Clear Minds. And today, we need to talk about something nobody in recovery wants to admit out loud. Getting better sometimes makes people treat you worse. When I first got sober, I expected two things. I expected it to be hard, and I expected people to be proud of me. The hard part? Yeah, that showed up right on schedule. But the proud part? That was more complicated than I ever imagined. Some people were incredible. My real ones showed up. But others, people I had known for years, started acting differently around me. Distant, uncomfortable, like I was now someone they had to be careful around. Like my sobriety was somehow a judgment on their choices. And then there were the questions. Can't you have just one? You're not that bad, are you? Why do you have to make it such a big deal? I wasn't making it a big deal. I was just trying to stay alive. Here's what I didn't understand then that I understand now. The stigma around addiction isn't just something other people put on you. It's something we carry inside of ourselves too. The shame, the silence, the feeling that recovery is something you hide rather than something you celebrate. So why does this happen? Why do people judge you for getting better? I've thought about this a lot, and I think it comes down to three things. The first one is misunderstanding. Most people still think addiction is a choice, a moral failure, a character flaw. So when you get sober, they don't see it as recovery from a disease. They see it as you finally deciding to stop being irresponsible. They don't understand the brain chemistry, the trauma, the years of quietly drowning. They just see the surface and they judge the surface. The second reason is discomfort. Your sobriety holds up a mirror. When you stop drinking at a party, suddenly everyone around you is aware of how much they're drinking. You didn't say a word, you just switched to water. But your presence changes the room. And some people don't like what they see in the mirror. So instead of looking at themselves, they look directly at you differently. The third reason, and this one is the hardest to say out loud, is that some people in your life were more comfortable with the old version of you, the version that was struggling, the version that needed them. Recovery changes the power dynamic, and not everyone is ready for that. If any of this is hitting home for you, if you felt that judgment, that distance, that quiet shame, drop a comment below and tell me about it. I promise you're not the only one. And honestly, reading those comments reminds me why I keep making these videos. So let me know. So what do you do with all of this? Because you can't control what people think. You can't unring that bell. And you shouldn't have to hide your recovery to make other people comfortable. Here's what actually worked for me. I stopped explaining myself. For a long time, when someone asked why I wasn't drinking, I launched into this whole story, trying to justify it, trying to make them understand. And all I did was make me feel smaller. Eventually, I learned that I just don't drink is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone your whole story before they've earned the right to even hear it. I got very intentional about my circle. This one was painful because some of the people I had to create distance from weren't bad people. They just weren't safe people for where I was going emotionally. Sobriety taught me that protecting my recovery isn't selfish, it's survival. The relationships worth keeping, the real ones, they can handle the new you. I started treating my sobriety as a source of pride, not a source of shame. This took time, but the day I stopped apologizing for it was the day something shifted. Because the stigma only has power if you let it live inside of you. Once you own your story fully without apology, what other people think of it starts to matter a whole lot less. Here's the truth that took me years to understand. The people who judge you for getting sober, they're not judging your recovery. They're judging their own reflection. Your healing makes their avoidance harder to ignore, and that's not your problem to solve. You didn't get sober to make other people comfortable. You got sober to build a life worth living. And that life, the calm one, the intentional one, the one where the war inside of yourself is finally quiet, that life is on the other side of caring what other people think. The stigma is real. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it isn't, but it's also survivable. And every single day you choose recovery anyway, in spite of the looks, in spite of the questions, in spite of the silence, that is one of the most courageous things a human being can do. You don't need their approval. You never did. If this video helped you in any way, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who needs to hear this today. And if you're carrying that stigma from others or from yourself, drop something in the comments. This community sees you. Resources for recovery are linked in the description below. Every single day you choose recovery is a victory. Keep going.